Everyone okay? Hey Lee, you're up early. What am I doing now? That's not what I want. I'm playing through the Helix today. Hey Alec, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're safe. And I'm just going to try and work through this little thing that I wrote down. I sort of broke one of my rules, which is not to write down anything, but it's still that same stuff that I was working on yesterday. I've already done that, Lee. It's about to be uploaded. I don't know if you've got me on Facebook or anything, but I just uploaded it on Facebook. And for YouTube, I've got some outtakes and stuff. But I literally did it this morning. Well, this afternoon even. Cool. Add me on Facebook. I'll check it out. So what am I working on? This thing. What was it? This was something I saw on Thomas Griggs' Instagram live feed. Yeah, mine will be on YouTube probably after this session. I'll probably go and get the laptop in a second and start uploading it. So it's this thing, which is like a B flat major 9 arpeggio, and I wanted to move it around because I felt like this was a kind of cool. I had to write it down to figure out what the notes would be if I move it around, which is I did work out how to do it in a minor kind of setting. And then I thought, well, if we're in F, we're probably going to need one for like a A7 flat 9 kind of sound. So that's like this. So I came up with this pattern, I think. Well, that's not gone too well, has it? Anyway, so that's what I'm practicing right now. If you've got questions, feel free to ask them. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic cider. That's how my day's going. I'm doing my live stream slightly earlier today as I've got a Skype lesson with the kid that I teach later on this evening. This is hard. He's on grade 5, I think. So at the moment we're learning learning. How does it go? It's Are You Gonna Go My Way? And then we've also got to learn Paramore, Misery Business, but we're learning that. It's not in record key for some reason. I guess they didn't want kids tuning their guitars in the middle of an exam. This is kind of smart. Feel free to ask any questions you might have. Also, I've got a backing track for one of the requests that I got yesterday. I'll probably put it up on Patreon later. But if you want to make requests in this kind of setting, I can work on stuff. I guess I could play through some of that JHS Jam with Us live now and see what I come up with. If you want, if that's interesting. I'll show you the little stupid ending that I put on it. Here it is. This is what it sounds like. Don't know what that actually sounds like to you. What's the plan with the arpeggio? How do I plan to use it? So, the plan with anything that I think sounds kind of cool, and I guess this is something I'm going to do a video on at some stage, because there was a question yesterday talking about how do you remember licks or anything, and the main thing is that I don't think you do remember licks at all unless you do lots and lots with them. So that's all right, Chris. You can't hear my voice very well. Should I turn up? Oh, that's going to create feedback. Are things sounding okay? Let me know if I need to make alterations. Yeah, my name is John Nathan Cordy, which is quite funny. That's what my parents decided. So yeah, anyway, so what was I saying? Shut up, Jake. The goal, so say you've learned one lick in one key, the thing that I think works most well if you're trying to remember that thing is to take it through as many keys as you can. So for instance, this is what I've got written down at the moment. So the one that I'm comfortable playing, if we start it in C, I'll move the mic a bit closer if that helps. So I start it in C. Hey Chase. Then I'll move it to F. Sorry. Then I'll move it to B flat. Then I'll move it to E flat. Then A flat. D flat. You'll be able to hear these very well. B. Yeah, you got it, Lee. The millimetric guitars are really cool. They're a bit more like a guitar feeling than the Strandberg, which I thought was like another bold choice kind of guitar, so it makes sense to compare them, I think. So yeah, take the lick round the circle of fifths or fourths. Then the other kind of thing you might do is that any time you saw like a chord 4, you could play that lick. So if you were playing in D major, there is a vocal mic, it's right here. Just let me know if it's not right. So if I was playing in D and I saw a G crop up, I could play that lick there. So I would probably practice that, and if I was playing like a few songs throughout the day, I might just try and shoehorn that lick in somewhere. And then the other thing that I think is useful to do is to move that shape through a key. So that's what I'm starting to do here. So we're starting it in F major. Okay, it's not just the circle of fifths, it's playing a lick through the circle of fifths. What can't you hear at the moment? Because I just let me know if I need to turn things up. I can do so. Here's the voice. I think you should be able to hear it. Okay. How about now? Still quiet? Okay, cool. So, just let me know if things get worse again, and I'll try and even things out a bit. So that's the first thing that I know of this channel. Okay, that makes sense. So I need to move that shape around. So I've got it in the fourth position. That lick. So let me try on the fly to get it in the position 5. So that means that it's got to be a dominant 9 instead. So that'll be like. That sort of thing. And then another minor. So that's it in kind of 3 positions of the major scale. If I play something simpler, it'll make more sense. So right, take this for example. So this is a thing happening in F major, yeah? So I take that shape and I move it up or down the key, same as what I was doing with the chords the other day. So there I've got it starting on C. I want it to start on B flat, but obviously all the intervals in between are going to change. So this is I know this lick quite well. Let's say that note. So play the same. Does that make some sort of sense? So it's about moving a shape or a concept through or up the scale. So you maintain the kind of idea, but it moves diatonically through the key. That's what I'm doing, but with this instead. I've been playing since I was 8 years old. Which is forever. So all it is, B flat. So it's right. Intervals, if you're interested, are 1, 5, 3, 7, 5, 9, 7, 11, 9, 5. That doesn't really make it any clearer, does it? But I'll put a breakdown up on Patreon or something if you're interested. Once I get this figured out, how to put it through the entire scale, because then I think it'll be useful. As it is, it's just quite a cool. No, I'm not playing the major scale at all. I'm playing the B flat sharp 11. Wait, sorry. So it's this arpeggio. It's the shape of the practice. It's that, but in a different order. It's the size of a chair. Actually, so yeah, maybe that would help me if I was to do. I'm not doing anything particularly complicated. It's just it sounds kind of cool, I think. Questions are welcome. Arpeggio studies based on the cycle of fourths. Yeah, that would be a similar kind of concept. What's happening with these levels? Like the guitar is about voice level. What's happening? I can try and sort things out. Hopefully. Shit. Oops. Just kicked over my beer. Give me a second. I'm going to try switching these into different places. See if this is any different, because does the guitar and voice sound okay? Okay, so I can turn up the guitar. So I think what was happening is the guitar was going through. Let me know if that's better. What interface do I record? I use a Lexicon U42S. It's quite old. Is that okay? No one's ever said that before. Yeah, it's just using the one mic. You were hearing the right side of the Helix straight through. I didn't realize that worked. So yeah, you were hearing the Helix direct as well, I think. Did that make the guitar sound better than it does right now, by the way? Because I could just change the level. Although if it was doing a weird gate thing, the vocal was just going whilst I was playing. All right. Well, maybe I'll try this. Hold on. So now you should have a little bit of guitar. So what if I just don't talk and play at the same time? Will that work? What was I talking about? I've forgotten what I was talking about now anyway. Well, questions welcome then. You're not getting... Yeah, diminished stuff. I'm not a huge... Like there's a gate with a huge release time. On the guitar or the voice? Yes, there's a bunch of guitars that are double tracked on constant K. The gate on the voice. So it's got to wait until the guitar completely cuts off before the voice starts coming through. Is that right? Is that what we're dealing with? So is the voice back now? So if I just don't play whilst I'm talking, will that be fine, wouldn't it? And here's some voice. Here's my voice. Does that sound okay? Cool. Right. So diminished sounds. I would think about using. So say we're playing in. I don't know. Give me a key chase, so that you can actually use this for something that you're doing at the moment. Non-alcoholic cider. Although I'm still slurring my word. G. So what you, Alex? I'll come to your question in a sec. So probably not the right tone for that, is it? So you're playing a 2-5-1 in G. The obvious place to start diminished stuff would be off of the F sharp. So anytime you've got a 5 on the, you can build a diminished arpeggio off of the third of that. So in G, our 2-5-1 is A minor, G, A minor, D, G. Right. So you end up with that sort of thing. Is that the kind of thing you mean? Those are some, that's the easiest way I can think of incorporating the. So that would be step 1. So play your A minor arpeggio. No, you approach it from the third of whatever the, the 3 of the 5. And I think right, hold on. So yeah, A minor. So I practiced doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do that, but then also move into another position. So obviously you're going to start off building things from whatever the root of that position is that you know. So you'll find another F sharp down here. So what would that? So there's A minor. For instance, where's there another F sharp? We've got one here. So work to find all of the F sharps, if that makes sense, and try and kind of approach it from a few sides. Right, and then also, since the diminished 7 arpeggio is 4 notes, you've obviously got another 4 notes that you could start it off from. So give me a second. You can also build it from the A. So A minor, and then over your D7, you play it from the A. Right? And then you can also build it from the C. So A minor. Sorry. Yeah, A minor. And then on the C. There you go. Find all the other Cs. F sharp, A, C, and then E flat, right? Whatever. So in G, we've got to play over the D. Got the notes F sharp, A, C, and E flat. So start working that idea around. And obviously, the other place in the family of G that we're going to be able to do something with is over like the B7, if it changes to an E minor at any point. So obviously over the B7, similar sort of concept. I would start thinking about the arpeggio over this D sharp. Sorry. And then down to the C is the other one. Wait. So that must be the... All right. So even over the B7, you can use that same diminished concept. That's interesting. On the same note, while we're having fun, inventive ways you can use to create more tension besides diminished. So over that D, you can do... Here's one idea which kind of works and has a sound. If you know your triads, over the D7, use a triad pairing of the D7 and then chuck an A flat on top. That's got a sound to it. It's not one that I use loads, but that's... it's kind of got a thing. Then I would use the altered scale more than anything else. Those diminished ones do work quite nicely though, because I don't know, they just do. Something I need to practice more, to be honest. The other way to think of it is like if you've got the B dominant, you can think of it kind of as a chucking the C on top of that. So like a flat 9 chord or flat 9 arpeggio. Was it helpful at all, Ujwal? And am I saying your name correctly? I ask you this every time. Yeah, adding the flat 9. So that's kind of like another way to think about the diminished sound, I think, and it helps you to visualize it maybe in a bit more context. So if you think of it as you're building the B7, but you're adding a C as well. There's also, so E flat is the same as D. I think it's one of those things, the timing stuff is one of those things that you'll see people throw ideas out there, but I think it's something you have to work on pretty much every day forever if it's not one of those things that comes super naturally to you, which it certainly isn't for me. Ah, cool. I guessed that correctly then. Any other questions? I'll try and give my stupid answers on stuff. while you're thinking of an answer, I'll just go and upload my other video. I'll bring it out, my laptop in here. Won't be long. So I'm just going to set this video uploading and I'll answer your questions at the same time. Your question, Alex, what was it again? Sorry, let me get back to it. Are modes and major scale positions, modes and different major scale positions the same? If you're in G major, second position, G major, is it really a Dorian? Okay, so did you check out my video on modes yet? Which I uploaded yesterday or the day before. If you're interested in modes, that might help you. But if you have already watched that, the Bacchus is mine now. I'm trying to sell the Sir. Oh, right, yeah. So on my channel, Alex, there's a video called Modes, Who Cares? Something like that, or Lots of Modes, Not Much Focus. Check that out and then come back here. I'll still be here. You can ask me some questions here specifically if you've got any questions about it, if that works for you. Here comes Elsa. Yeah, that's a good idea, Chase. Singing everything helps generally. If you can sing a thing, you'll generally find it easier to play the thing. All right, I need to get these dogs out of here. Place has been overrun by dogs. What's going on out there? Dogs are barking. How to hear chords better when trying to learn a song by ear. What part do you mean? So the more songs you learn, the more you get a sense for like 1, 4, 2, 5, 1. We've got a side gig as providing a home for 8 dogs. So learn lots of songs. In terms of actual individual voicings, that's something that will take a long time to get a handle on. For instance, there's like voicings like this that I watched Eric Johnson do. You kind of have to see the thing to figure out exactly what he's doing. And even with a visual, sometimes it's not that clear what a guitarist is doing in terms of like actual voicing. Because some people play stuff in different weird kind of like physical ways. But the only way to get better at all of this stuff is to just try doing it. There's not really any tips I wouldn't say for learning Like picking out that sort of thing on the middle of a recording would probably be super difficult because it's just difficult. They are all tiny dogs, Stephen, if it makes that any better. I'm gonna tune. Combine into one super badly behaved dog. See you, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. If I wasn't a musician, what would I do? I don't know. Bit of a impossible question to answer, isn't it? Given that I started playing at piano at age of 5, I've not really thought of anything else. I was quite good at science and English at school. I'm quite good at writing, like writing stuff. So maybe something in those kind of fields. Worked in a supermarket for a bit. I was quite good at that. I'll probably be doing that again soon. Superimposing 2 5 1s to the next chord. I'm going in C major. I'm superimposing C major. Okay, so here's one that works, that kind of thing. So say you're playing in C major, Chase. Let me know if you've got, if this makes sense. Play something in C major. So chord 1, and you're coming to chord 4, as in F. So chord 1. I'll wait until you say yes or no before I go down this stupid rabbit hole. Actually, this is going to be relatively simple once you see it. So just say yes or no. Yes or no. Right, so here we go. Yes, sir. Right, we start. Let's move this light a bit. Got a bit of a glow from there now. We got C, then we're coming to F. So C, here's a substitution for you. G minor, C7, F. That's super common. That's free, that one. You'll hear that all over the place, by the way. So that's G minor. Got kind of a cool sound. So C, G minor. Sorry, that's not G minor. Anyway, so C, G minor, C7, F. That makes sense. So C, G minor, F. In G, it would be G, D minor, G7, C. Minor 5, like a 1 dominant 7 to 4, yeah. So I'll try and put it somewhere. Try imposing a minor 5. I did not understand that question, Chase. Jake, get a notebook and start writing things down. Um, so, dog's going crazy again. To start off with, when I was in your shoes, maybe 5, 6 years ago, I used to make like notes of songs. So it might be like a verse, pre-chorus, chorus. No, Chase, I'll answer the question if you just write it out for me in a way that I can understand it. That's cool. We've got time. Anyway, yeah. So write out like the structure of the song. So like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and write out things that are different to what would be ordinary. So like if there's an altered verse the second time round, if it's half the length or something. I think I used to write things out in terms of like bar length or something. So you might say, right, there's 8 bars of this progression, and then the second time you do it, there's 4 bars of it or whatever. So that you have like a list of songs and then a few notes next to each one. That's what I had to do. Well, it's not that the songs are easy, it's that there's lots to remember. So yeah, that's fine. If it's the progressions that you're not remembering, for example, yeah. So you might write down the verse for Valerie, for instance. It's E flat, then F minor, and then you get obviously the other chords, but you also might make a note that the second verse is twice the length of the first verse, I think, from memory. Things like that, or like the gaps between verse and chorus might be different on some tunes. There'd be some tunes that I wouldn't need to make a note on, like Teenage Dirtbag, for instance, because it was like embedded enough in my childhood that I never really had to learn it. And then there'll be songs that you've never heard before that you might have to do for a first dance, and you might have to make more extensive notes on those. But yeah, I would listen as well to the songs that you're trying to learn as much as possible. That's kind of a useful thing to do. Like if you're driving around, obviously you're not going to be doing much of that at the moment, but I would put all of the songs onto my phone or whatever and have them in the car, so that even if I'm kind of not actively trying to transcribe the thing, that I'm still having it in mind anyway, so that I can build up my memory of the tune. Does that make sense? Yeah, there are people that do that, but it sucks. Just don't do it. I find it super disrespectful. It's like someone's bothered to ask you to learn a tune for their first dance. You probably better play it right. Yeah, we're not going to have any gigs, I don't think. Chase, have you found anything worthwhile with that? See how this upload's going. Cool. Questions certainly welcome. Next question: how do I grow the John Cordy beard to grow up? Lee, yeah. So basically, I used to go to a jam night in a pub that closed down. But no one particularly knew me or knew that I played guitar or anything. So at the time, it was like a bit of a surprise, I guess, that there was someone who could play guitar a little bit. Um, so that was kind of how I made a few um, friends and acquaintances and people that wanted me to play for them. Generally in like little pub gigs and stuff, which is still basically where I'm at. Um, so yeah, that's how that happened. Um, if I use a Kali 76 ever, I did have a stacked one, Kali 76 stacked compressor. But for me, it was a bit too much money to have tied up in just a compressor. So I've sold that at this point. I'm probably going to have to work out how to turn pedals into money, not money, pedals into food at some stage, unfortunately. More questions are welcome. But yeah, if you're looking for a compressor, they're decent compressors. I'm doing some other stuff for Origin Effects. I don't know if you saw it. I did a demo of the Revival Drive Hot Rod Edition. It depends what you mean by guitar YouTube community. I don't want to take payment from companies for doing gear demos because I think that seems sort of wrong. I mean, it'd be nice if people came to my channel to learn a few things or to check out the playing. That's kind of my main goal. I guess. I don't know if anyone else has any opinion on this sort of stuff, but say like you knew that I've been paid something like $300 or something to demo a piece of equipment, would that be a negative thing, or would you not care, or how would you feel about that? If you want to leave me answers, that'd be cool to see what people actually think, because I have a feeling about it, but I'm not sure if maybe I'm just way off. What am I doing? Yeah, but how am I supposed to like be like honest about a piece of gear and say that this is something that I really like if a company's paying me to do a demo of it? Doesn't make sense to me. How do you make it make sense? Um, yeah, I only demo stuff I like anyway, but I kind of think that I should be doing that, and it also shouldn't be necessarily paid. But the thing is, I also see demos that I think they say that they're using a product which I'm pretty sure they've not used it particularly. Is that an issue for you, Chase? Like, well, I can't really give examples without coming across like a proper knobhead, so I'll probably not give examples. So, say for instance, Yamaha have kindly lent me some guitars for stuff, and I'm happy to use them. Um, okay, yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be demos, but I guess that's kind of like the main way that you make money on a YouTube channel, probably. Is it or not? Yeah, I sort of agree, Stephen. Like, I don't think there's loads of bad equipment out there. I have been approached to sort of do demos of a microphone or two, um, but it wasn't anything that I'd ever used, so I just said no. Um, I've got a Patreon, Lee. Well, you know that already, don't you? Yeah. Why don't you guys tell me what is useful on here? what is useful about my channel and why do you bother coming to my channel when there's loads of others? If you tell me what it is, then I can just keep doing more of that. But to me, I didn't want to consider like taking, a few $100s or whatever it is for a gear demo if it was something that I wasn't. I don't know. I feel like I just have to not take money. I don't really like the idea of higher tiers league because I know everyone else is kind of struggling at the moment as well, aren't they? So, Stephen, that is kind of the arrangement that I have sort of, but I can't really make money off of pedals, if you see what I mean. Right, I'm just going to upload this. So, yeah, if you keep telling me what it is that you like about my stuff, the way that I demo gear at the moment, it mostly is that I'm just using the gear on a daily basis. So, for instance, the J Rocket stuff I really like, so I just make videos with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way that I try to. I've got Patreon, Bill. I do $3 a month if people want like backing tracks and all that sort of stuff. If you want to, you don't have to. This is by no means me saying do this, but I'll put it here in just in case you're interested. And so the interesting thing about like the big pedal demos is that I'm not sure that they really do what people think they should do anyway. So if, for instance, I see someone using a pedal once, like one pedal demo, I'm not sure that it particularly sells that pedal better to me than if I see someone use a pedal for a whole year. Does that make sense? So like anything that I use, you'll see it in a bunch of videos, or you won't, and then you'll know that I don't use that pedal anymore. Like the Friedman BEOD, I had a Boss DM2 Waza delay thing, and if I don't like them, they won't be in many videos. But if I find a piece of gear actually inspiring, like the Iridium or the Helix or whatever I ended up with, then yeah, I don't know. Does anything I'm saying make actual sense? Probably doesn't. Probably just sounds like I'm a bitter person. And the other thing is, I didn't want to necessarily yeah. Yeah, but what if they send you that and money is what I mean. I think Iridium, I was just lucky and caught the wave there. As in, I think they leaked that before it should have been leaked, before they'd given it to the other pedal demo people. So I just bought one and I went nuts with it. Yeah, I think that is useful if they go in depth dialing in. Yeah. Never loved it. What have you got instead, Stephen? Yeah. Obviously, Rabia's a huge channel as well, so I can understand, that people would pay him to do demos of stuff. So I think that's a it's a nice earning if you can do it, I think. Yeah, if you're just using it for modulation delays, then those two probably slightly better options, I'd imagine. See you, Jake. Ujwa, I'm not sure that it would, to be honest with you. If the things that I read about the axe effects are true, then probably not. How I dial in a backline amp, so I go to a pub jam. I could try and think about that. Yeah, but so Chase, the benefit that I kind of get from it is that people come to the channel anyway, and then you get like a bit of ad revenue from people watching your stuff. So kind of you already get the benefit of that. And then the reason that you demo gear on the channel is because that's something that people are interested in. And obviously, like yourselves, I'm into gear. The beer looks digital. Hey. Something funny going on with this. Why haven't I done any demos with an Axe FX? Because I don't have an Axe FX. That's simply the only reason for it. Thank you very much, Lee. That's very kind of you. If I had an Axe FX, I'd be playing it, but I don't have an Axe FX. I did contact Fractal about the FM3, and in theory, I supposedly was on a waiting list or something, but I haven't really heard anything. And at the moment, I definitely don't have any money for it. So it's just another thing on the list that I can't really do. I've just uploaded the Jam with JHS video, but it's processing at the moment, so you won't be able to see that for a bit. Thank you very much for checking out my Patreon, Bill. If there's any videos that you've got ideas that you want me to cover, or backing tracks that you've seen me play over that you want, that's kind of the idea of the Patreon. Oh, cheers, Adrian. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, Chase, of course you can. That is also one of the reasons that I'm doing these live streams, is because it helps me to get a gauge of what people want to see. This is non-alcoholic, by the way. You've got no vowels in your name, so I can't say it. Other sources of income. At this stage now, it's only music. So it's a fun time. But for instance, play through of a backing track for a few minutes, then you go back and give it a breakdown of your mentality. Yeah. All right, let me whilst we're waiting for this to upload, I'm going to try and play something over the JHS backing track. If I just mute everything, tell me if the levels are all. That's loud. I don't know if any of that came through. Let me know if the levels are still screwy. I'll just do another take whilst I'm waiting for one of you to say what's wrong. Sorry, so is this better than my normal YouTube stream quality then? Is that what we're actually finding right now? Because I've got the Helix plugged into the interface and this microphone for the voice. But are you saying things sound okay? Because normally when I listen back, I find that everything gets all weirded out. If that's a thing. Oh, that's interesting. I'll do this again then. Cool. Progress. I guess I should probably do the request thing that I was asked for yesterday at some point. That's my take on the jam with this stuff. Right, I'm going to play the request thing. Not that the person who requested it was on. Oh, well, that's not processing. Right. Yes. The guitar's louder than the voice still. I think it will have to be, otherwise I won't be able to hear the guitar. When it process. Fire away with questions if you've got them. I need to mute these two. You go first, Lee. That's what it should be. Favorite films, I think Blade Runner has got to be on that list. What else have we got? You give some favorite films as well, and then I'll be able to say whether I liked them. Sci-fi's in general I really like. Good horrors I like. So Cabin in the Woods is a cool one. Why isn't this working? Yeah, Blade Runner, the both of them I really like. The Ryan Gosling one's cool as well. The Blade Runner cut, what's the one that I've seen? The one that's considered good. Oh, cheers, Adrian. Okay, that's not working, so I'll upload something else as well. Is it the final cut? Is it called? Talking of cuts of films, Watchmen. There's a really long cut of that film, which is like 3 or 4 hours long, which is awesome. Yeah, it should sound like that, JV, because I was requested that song. So the backing track is that. Etc. Cheers, Chase. Thanks for stopping by. What is Don't Start? No. Oh, so that's Tim Pierce playing on that, is it? Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Thanks for stopping by, Chase. If you've got any further ideas and stuff, please feel free to come back and comment on a video and just ask me, and I'll hopefully try to deal with the stuff. I might make a video of it or a backing track or something that hopefully helps you in some way. I have a guitar instructor, but I'm not 100% sure that he's a good fit. Do you have any tips how to figure out whether I should look elsewhere? Why is he not a good fit? Would be my first question. And what are you looking to learn, I guess, would be my second question. Oh, that's worked now. So I think my Jam with JHS video is now live, if you wanted to check it out. So I never really had a proper guitar teacher. At university, I used to have a guitar teacher for a bit, Stuart Ryan, who's a great player. But I grew up self-taught. So for the 30, well, what is it, 20, 22 years that I've been playing guitar, like almost all of it is completely self-taught. The theory stuff, I guess I got from piano lessons anyway. The main thing I think with the teacher is that it should inspire you to play your instrument, probably, I guess, or they can point out things that actually help you. And whether you need a teacher anyway, I guess is another question. And what sort of things are you looking to learn from them? You know, if you're like looking to work on sweep picking and they don't know how to sweep pick, then they might not be the best fit. But if they're able to point you in the direction of like stuff which can actually help you with what you're learning. I think my view on a practice routine as an idea is kind of different from some other people. Like I don't have a set routine or anything. I think you should probably spend time playing what you want to play. That doesn't necessarily mean don't work on stuff that you find difficult. But for instance, probably most of us have heard of the tune Giant Steps, and I've put in a few hours, well, probably quite a lot of hours into playing that tune before I realised that I'd never heard anyone play anything over that tune that made me think I want to play that tune. So all of that time was wasted because no matter how good even if I got as good as as good as John Coltrane playing over Giant Steps, it was a waste of my time because it wasn't anything that spoke to me or that I wanted to hear. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. So the only things that I want to practice are things that I think are either good or that I need to practice in order to play when I've got a gig. Chord tones regardless of scale, says practice arpeggios all over the place to be able to visualize the fretboard for a single chord and every chord change. Yeah, that's a good thing to practice. Depending on what your goal is. But what you don't need a teacher for that. I mean, I don't necessarily think you need a teacher for that. But what do I know? So how are you practicing it, Lee? And I'll steal it. Yeah, so basically all of my practice time is centered around kind of inspiration, I guess. So like if I listen to some Keith Jarrett or watch Thomas Griggs play guitar or someone like that, it makes me want to pick up a guitar. So that's the reason that I go around watching stuff and then playing stuff. So for instance, that thing that I'm practicing, pick a note, say D on the A string, do an arpeggio starting with your index finger, then with your middle finger, then with your ring, then with pinky, like that. That does seem useful. Sorry. But yeah, D on the, yeah, but that same idea, yeah. Sorry. makes sense. The hardest thing I think to practice when it comes to arpeggios is also you've got to then consider the inversions. So one thing I used to do, and this should be useful hopefully, Lee, because you've just kind of said the thing that happens, is that you do, like, say you've got autumn leaves, you'd start off just play through the changes. Play through the changes and arpeggios. It's really tricky if you do it in inversions though. So what would that be? So playing through all of the changes of a tune, arpeggios in inversions is super difficult. Tips for fretboard visualization, Chapel. Hello, by the way. I think the question on this is a bit of it's kind of difficult to know what other people see or what they say they see. Well, Lee, I guess the question for you is, do you feel like it's worth it? To me, that seems like a relatively good exercise. If he's got lots more good exercises, then it doesn't hurt. Depends how much you're paying, I guess. Well, once you've learned that one exercise once, all of the value in that is in you doing that exercise over and over and over again. So it depends how much time you've got to practice between lessons to get the benefit, I guess. The things that I teach, the student that I've got, or students, I've got two, they're related. I feel like if they practice enough, I wouldn't necessarily have to teach them, if you see what I mean. So if they sat down for 2 hours a day and just practice playing the things that are in the grade book, my role as a teacher wouldn't necessarily be super useful unless there's specific technique things that they're tripping up on. I don't know if that helps. Learning stuff in isolation, such as scales, arpeggios, without musical application and context, doesn't really sink in. No, not at all. So that's why I suggest doing things around like a circle of fourths or fifths. I know that sounds kind of funny, but a lot of the times I think you find that you do end up, not you specifically, but with other students, I end up sitting with them and doing the thing that they should have practiced. So as a teacher, sort of what you're ending up showing people is how to practice. And then with a good student, you don't actually literally have to sit there and tell them to practice it. But unfortunately, that's not the way it always works. Yeah, and Stephen, also that's why if you're learning scales, arpeggios and stuff, I would always try and suggest doing it in the context of a song. So come and instantly apply it to a tune or a scale or whatever. So if you're practicing a specific arpeggio, put it into a jazz standard. Yeah. This is one of the issues. Yeah, that is a difficult, isn't it, Stephen? That's, I guess, why I'm not particularly interested in teaching, because I'd rather just spend the time practicing myself or playing myself. But if the teacher does have insightful things to practice, um, that would encourage me to keep going back to them, because if you literally do have time to, cheers, Adrian. If you do have time to put into application the things that they are showing you, then you're a good student. Then hopefully they have more good insights. Then it probably is worthwhile, I guess. I think if you're a bad student, it doesn't make sense to go to a teacher in general. I.e., if you're not going to practice. I think that's also the idea with the teacher as well, is that they can get you to find enough so you learn to be able to inspire yourself, I guess. Okay, so random. I went to a pub jam the other month, and I realised I have no idea what sort of songs folks play at those. I guess it varies per jam night. It depends on what the other people that come are. So one thing is obviously the blues. There's a reason that the blues is a thing, and it's because it's like a language that everyone sort of knows. Now, the other kinds of languages that other people know at these kind of jam sessions, there'll be possibly a lot of players who know a lot of rock tunes. So like ACDC stuff, things in that area that other people would have more idea about than I do. You might also find that there's a big chunk of players who play on like the function scene or wedding bands. So you might find that there's people that know songs like Superstition or Mr. Brightside or whatever the classic wedding tunes happen to be, Living on a Prayer. That's it depends on what pocket of musicians are coming to these things, but those are kind of the classic ways in. If it's a guitar focused thing, rock tunes like ACDC, Thin Lizzy, I'm drawing a blank, but you know what I mean. Hopefully, blues stuff. If it's a jazz jam, that is quite a lot easier because everyone is used to the idea of turning up and playing unprompted stuff. If it's blues, again, it's a sort of a similar kind of vibe. And then you've got like the kind of wedding catalogue of stuff, which a lot of people should know. Pub gig, it depends entirely on the band that you're playing with. If you've got a band that can actually bring people to the pub, like the band that I play keyboard in, 60s band, you'll find that you can get okay money for a pub gig. But the only way to know what those classic tunes are to go maybe and listen. Eric Johnson, I wouldn't imagine be a sort of player that might turn, the sort of music that you might play at a pub jam, typically. I guess you literally just have to go and speak to people. That is kind of the whole issue with a pub jam in general, or a jam in general, is that you have to figure out what everyone sort of knows. But kind of pop tunes from your childhood might be a safe-ish bet. But really, the only also I think jams tend to have their own sort of they sort of auto-generate their own kind of list once you start to get integrated into the crowd that turn up, if there is one, or the bunch of people that turn up. So there's Yeah, pop tunes from your childhood. That's the ones you're missing. Yeah, those are the ones that you need to figure out what. You're from America, right? I think. I'm sure you're from America. Um, so for us over here, we got like things like Oasis and stuff like that from the 90s. Whereas I guess maybe bands like In Living Color, you might have some cool stuff like that, or Extreme, I guess, might be a bigger deal over there. John Mayer, um, those sorts of things, I guess. Like John Mayer's obviously a bit more recent, but um, those sorts of areas I might look. Generally, they're going to be simple tunes and popular tunes. And then you might get a few weird things like which kind of had a resurgence off the back of Vice City. Um, that's one over in England that people kind of like to play for no real reason, or yeah. But the only real way to know is to head out to a few, maybe don't play for one or two, and just start to make a list songs, or see if you can talk to someone who's not drunk and might have some idea. And the other thing is you could just sit on tunes that you don't. Um, yeah, I've never heard any CCR or ZZ Top either, but I'm from England, so I've got an excuse. Um, Also, if you're a relatively decent player, you don't necessarily have to know a tune to still get some fun out of a jam night. So maybe just sit in on a song or two and just listen for the first part of the song. Um, so it's sort of, yeah, well, that works as well. But so, like, what's the saying? Something like, no one knows you're an idiot until you open your mouth. So if you sit there and you just wait patiently to figure out what's going on in the tune, um, no one's going to really notice because they're all too busy doing their own thing at a jam night in general. Um, so just sit out of a tune or kind of vamp. So just do little simple vampy stuff where um, you're not the you're not the main kind of focal point. You're just sitting in and you're not responsible for the chords that are happening around you. You're just playing safe stuff until you get more of a vibe for what's going on in the song. Um, Definitely don't just solo over everything because I think that will probably annoy people. Um, I think it's probably beneficial to be kind of respectful at a jam night and maybe err on the side of playing less than more, probably. And then when it comes time to do your solo or whatever, then go nuts then. Yeah, so that's really tricky one because you need to get eye contact and then also sort of trust that they're going to know what you're going to do. So the most important person in the band is the drummer for ending a song. So if you can, yeah, signal to the drummer, because then if you give the drummer like a nod, they can do like a row or a slow down, and then everyone's got to follow them anyway, right? So if you before the song starts or something, figure out with your drummer what your signal is going to be. So like let's pretend we're playing a song. So you might try to do that, or like a really like coming up type thing. Eyebrows are a good thing. Um, it's kind of a bit of a you have to kind of feel that thing out. It's tricky. I know. If you're a singer, one thing that works really well is just to put your hand up to end a song, and then everyone in the band hopefully sees that. That works really well. Um, and the guitarist, that sort of thing does sort of help. If you're going like, but I think generally the problem is that you don't think about the ending until you're already in the song, and then it's too late. Do you know what I mean? Because the adrenaline kind of takes over, and you think, oh, let's play some music. Whereas if you've thought ahead of time, you might just say to the drummer, oh, at the end, I'm gonna give you a signal like that or something. So you just figure out a signal. I think the universal, yeah, I think the universal sign for carry on is like that sort of thing. And in the jam bands and stuff that I work with, or like bands where you've not played together before, that would generally mean like the next section or something. So you might have, let me think of something. No, I need less stuff. Bypass. What was it? I'm trying to remember how a song goes. It's not quite that, is it? So this is a song called Let Sanity by Lettuce, and there's like a B section which does this. So anytime that was coming up, the musicians would be looking around, and you sort of put your head up to cue when that section is coming. So like a bar before it's happening. So whatever. Sorry, let me try and work this through in my head. So. And if you're trying to signal that that part is not coming up, then don't make eye contact with someone, or like a subtle shake of the head. That kind of helps. So I might be going. Does that make any sense? So throughout the part where there's like an ambiguity, I might just subtly kind of just carry on doing what you're doing, and then when it is coming up, then I'd lift my head, if that makes any sense at all. And for me, I don't particularly worry about the audience in this circumstance, because it's more important that the whole performance doesn't fall apart than it is that they see that you're signaling to each other. I think if you watch Corey Wong as well, he's a guitarist for Wolfpack. He also band leads. I think he's one of the kind of best band leaders that I've ever seen. I know there's some element of rehearsal that probably goes into it, but I think he sort of does this band leading in a really transparent, obvious way that kind of works with the audience as well. So that's worth checking out some of his stuff live, I think, if you want some kind of tips on band leading. James Brown as well, and Prince, I think, did good things in this area. Like playing, I guess. It's just worth seeing what other people do. Obviously, as a guitarist, there's less kind of scope for taking your hands off Certainly for me, because I feel like, oh, I've got to play this stuff, but actually, you probably could just hang a chord and do whatever, point at someone. Then also, so another thing is if you're coming to an end of a solo, so right, let's just set a thing going. Well, anyway, all right, cheers then, Lee. I'll check yours out as well. Yeah, coming to an end of the solo, make some eye contact so that people know that you're considering ending your solo. Otherwise, you'll have to go around again. I'm probably going to go for another 7 minutes or so, and then, so if people have more questions, I'm happy to answer. In the meantime, I'm going to play over something that I want to play over. What have I got? This was kind of cool. Stop with the hit the stop. It's loud. Useful thing to practice to be comfortable around the neck. Practice playing in every single key. So this was something I did really early on. So obviously guitar keys that we're comfortable with are G, D, C, A, E. And then after that, we become gradually less and less comfortable with everything because most songs written by a guitarist or learnt by a guitarist tend to be in these keys, like C, A, G, E, D stuff. So I would advise as quickly as possible to start learning songs in other keys. So A flat, F sharp, D flat, B, all these other things. Oh, cheers. Then the other things to do are not to learn scales in just one position. So you've got like, for instance, say you're playing something in A flat major. Your first position that you might learn might be. So the thing to do is to add one other position that you're comfortable with first of all. So you've got, say you've got one position of A flat major that you're comfortable playing, or one position of the pentatonic scale that you're happy with. So add one more. So and then you've got another box, if you will, to play with. And that's how you gradually build up more and more comfortable places. So once you've got You think, okay, I'm comfortable with these 2 boxes, I'm going to add another box. And so on, until you've got F minor pentatonic or A flat major pentatonic in all places on the neck. So then you're then comfortable playing A flat major pentatonic or F minor pentatonic all over the neck. Sorry. That's the basic process for anything, I think. So same with A flat major. You can start A flat major from any of the other notes in the scale. So do that and learn that all over the neck. That's really the only way that you'll get comfortable playing things everywhere. One other small thing that you could do, if you take a phrase like, try and play it an octave below. That's one way to build up some additional kind of visualization of the thing. So try and play the same thing in different places. If that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. I did, but I wouldn't recommend it. The place that I went to, I didn't learn anything, so I wouldn't recommend it personally. I think it's a good way to meet potentially people if you go to the right place. Like if you were going to Berkeley or something, then I guess you meet a lot of different people who are probably going to end up somewhere decent in the industry. So potentially there are good things to be had from university, but my university experience was not good. Right, I'm going to head out. Thank you for joining me. There's some videos that are going on my YouTube channel. If you want to do the old like and subscribe thing, that'd be super helpful. If you're able to share any of my stuff with a friend, that'd be awesome, and be super helpful for me at the moment. That'd be awesome if you were able to do that. And if you want to leave comments on the channel somewhere about what else you might like me to cover, I'm always looking and listening. So go ahead. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.